What's going on, you guys? Shout out out here in Singapore. Thank you so much for joining the Night Owl podcast. I really appreciate you guys listening in. And as always, I got a doozy of a topic today because it's also kind of mirroring what I'm going through at the moment, whether it's with my clients in my own personal life, whether it's at work, whether it's, as I work on myself, learn new things, integrate new ideas and new philosophies. I got plenty that I'm working with. So today I want to talk to you about the fact that, you know what? Yeah, we're all planting seeds, but the process of planting seeds is a tireless one that kind of feels like, you know what? Thankless job. No one sees any benefit anyway. It's not going to be this generation that actually sees the product, you know? So a lot of times when farmers go down and they prep the land, they make sure that their land is well irrigated. They have all of their, sunshine, enough shade. They're planting the right crops together or whatever. And when they go to plant the seed, obviously the next day you're not going to have any kind of harvest, and not the next month, and not the next, you know, season. Possibly it would take a little bit of time, but you continue watering it, and there'll be days where you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even have water. How am I going to do this? Is it going to mess up the plant not to water it for a day? Like, how do I make sure that I'm going to receive a crop at point that we can, harvest at some point. But the process of waiting, the process of continuing to do the work when you don't see any results is really, really difficult. I don't know if you understand what I mean, because obviously not everyone is a farmer. Let's think about it in a different context, shall we? I know that every day that I wake up in the morning and I look at my baby girl and I do the best that I can to make sure she brushes her teeth, she washes her face, she drinks water, she eats some fruit, she has some food, right? She gets some exercise, she does feed her brain a little bit. I'm trying to make sure all of those things happen. But then there are some days where I'm not in the mood, or she's not in the mood, and we end up fighting. There are some days where we got stuff to do. We got to go visit people, so we don't have our regular scheduled stuff that happens on time at all. Maybe I skip a couple of things. And then there are those days where we missed one day, and then it got easy to miss the second day and miss a third day, and suddenly we've missed a whole week or maybe even a whole month, and we're not doing the kind of work that we could have been doing. So here I am waiting for her to ace a test or do really well with something. And I know I can't cram the night before she actually has a test. I got to build it little by little. But I don't see the progress, and I'm worrying if I'm screwing her up. I'm wondering if, me letting her slide on a lot of things because she's an only child, and I've got a guilt complex because she doesn't have the family that she grew up with, and she doesn't have her father around, and even my mom is not around all the time. Like, I'd be letting her slide with a lot of stuff. So I'm over here thinking I'm screwing her up. I'm going to destroy this child. She's going to be the biggest brat in the universe. And then there are some days where it's like, okay, yeah, she's great. People are giving me feedback. She feels good about doing her studies. She feels proud of the work she's doing. The point is, not every day is going to be one of those, yes, I did it days. Some of those days you're going to look back and be like, you know what, fuck it. I did the best we could. We got out of bed this morning. That was a big deal. And we got food on the table. That was a big deal. So sometimes you're going to relax your standards a little bit and maybe lower your expectations a little bit, because you're not going to meet the quota that you've set, that bar that you've set that's so high. But in the meantime, you're wondering if you really made a difference or not, right? You won't know until the end. You won't know until she's an adult, because at that point she's going to come back to you and be like, maybe she'll apologize and say, I'm sorry I gave you so much trouble. Maybe she'll be like, yo, I didn't realize how much it mattered that we did things this way, and I appreciate you pushing me to do that, So that's a context with kids. But what about in relationships? Right? All of us want to be loved, want to be taken care of, want to feel like we're important, we're seen, they appreciate the work we're doing. But guess what? Let's be real here. A lot of times they don't see the effort that we put in. A lot of times we're not speaking the same love language that they want, right? That's native to them. A lot of times we do things, but they got outside influences that are like bugging them or dragging them down or interfering with their own energy, and they don't see the fact that we are constant or that we're always there. So in those moments, yeah, of course, it's natural to be like, fuck, what am I doing? Do I even want to continue this? Like, what is the real point here? Why should I even be here for this person? They don't even notice anything. But the point being that if you really are loving them, you're doing it because you want to, not because you want a result in the back end, right? You're not doing it because you want them to love you. You're not doing something to make them love you. You're doing it because it's the right thing for you. You feel good. This is how you want to show that you appreciate them in response, right? So those are the things that we really need to pay attention to, because yeah, the process is long and grueling. No, you can't make someone fall in love with you, but you can be yourself in every situation, and you can show people that you are dependable, that you are loyal, that you are someone that, has the capability of forgiving and not judging and being around for people, because those are rare qualities in this day and age. So as long as you're not coming into it with an expectation, you keep doing what you think is right. You keep doing what you know how best to do. And hopefully at some point that person understands what you're going through, realizes how much you've sacrificed. But if they don't, at least you know you did your best. And if the time comes where y'all need to part ways, you part ways. You see what I'm saying? Same thing with work. A lot of times, I've been in situations where they've been uh, assigning people to me for me to train. And it's mostly because I'm really good at speaking a language where my employees or my teammates can understand where I'm coming from, and they respect me because they know I'm not about to push off all of the crap work onto them because I don't want to do it, but more likely that I am going to teach them how to do it because I also am expected to do it. But if we all share the workload and you find certain things easier to do than I do, it'd be easier for me to give that work to you, right? But in those instances, when you're training somebody as they go through the learning process, there are going to be times where you feel like, damn, I done told you this like 27,000 times. How come you're not getting it? But the point is not to give up on them. The point is to adjust how you do things so that maybe they actually get the content, they receive it somehow. It's almost like tuning an antenna, right? But even then, the harvest is never right when you plant. You got to wait for the natural cycle of things. You got to wait for them to get what accustomed to your energy, accustomed to the way you teach things. Maybe they are one of those employees that have been through a lot of different trainers and everyone else has given up on them, and you're like the last straw or last line of defense, let's say. And they're thinking, okay, well, this person's going to yell at me and scream at me and treat me like shit just like everybody else did. Let me be on my guard because I don't know if I can trust them. So here you go, trying to set a new standard, teach them a different way, try really hard to get to know them, and they are suspicious the entire way, right? And this happens in relationships too. You come from a bad relationship, you get into a new relationship, and here you are suspicious of every move they make, right? You're worried about, well, what is that underhanded notion? Are they checking up on me? Are they setting me up for a fall? What do they really want? How do I fit into their master plan? Like all this suspicious stuff. And I get it. But the point being that if you really are an effective leader, if you really are somebody who's doing this from a genuine place, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to break down those defenses. And I'm not saying break them down so you can Trojan horse this whole situation, but to break them down in the respect that they need to be able to trust you, and they need to learn that not everyone is like their ex, whatever, boss X, workplace X, fiance X, husband, whatever, right? They need to know that you are different. And the only way to prove that you are different is to do it a little bit every day. Show up every day, plant the seed every day, water the seed, nurture the seed every day until they realize that, yeah, okay, I wasn't tripping. Now, there are going to be some occasions, right, when those people, the trauma is so bad that no matter what you do, they're going to paint you as a demon. They're going to paint you as, oh my gosh, you have underhanded notions. I don't trust you anyway. And if they find it in their hearts to, you know what, fuck you, I'm not doing this anymore, they're going to walk away. You have to be big enough to allow them to walk away. You can't sit there and then, put the accounting in on how much you've spent and how much you've done. And along the way, you could have said no. Along the way, you didn't have to spend whatever you spent. You chose to spend, then you have to allow it to be, hey, I did this out of the goodness of my heart because I am a good person. So you can't, pull out all the stops and tell them, hey, well, I did this, this, and this. You owe me. Nah, that's not love anymore. That's a business arrangement. And unfortunately, if you understand anything about business, you have to agree on the terms beforehand and then start the services. You can't do it after the fact and expect them to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to pay you back. No, that's not how that works. That's called guilt tripping, okay? That's called blackmail. That's not a good thing. Like I said, sowing the seed, great work. Seeing the effects of the seeds you planted, that's going to take some time. And if you're lucky, it'll be in your lifetime. And if not, maybe it'll be after you parted ways with this person that they suddenly realize, hey, that dude over there, they was real. They were down for me from day one. They had no qualms about taking care of me and supporting me. I screwed up. And maybe they're in a position to come back. Maybe they don't come back because they're ashamed and they are guilty, right? It could be a million different reasons. But the point being that you don't stop doing what's in your heart to do. You don't change what your passions are and change who you are based on the way people receive your help or receive your love. Some people are tuned into your frequency and are able to receive it. Some people are not. Some people need it desperately and can't see love even if it were to kiss them all over their face. They can't tell. They will see it as smothering and codependency and whatever else. I don't know. But this is something you really need to consider. Sowing the seed is really important. If you are a light worker, if you are a healthcare giver, if you are an educator, if you are a coach, and that's sports or, life coaching, whatever it is that's in your heart to do. If you're a filmmaker, right, do what you do best because you can, because it's your passion, because you love to do it. Don't do what you do because you're looking for someone else to give you a leg up, someone else to give you, an opportunity that you've been waiting for, someone to credit you. That's not what you need. You do what you are meant to do because it's in your heart to do it. That is your purpose here. And then let the rest fall where it may. If you do it without the expectation that someone's going to notice and someone's going to do something for you, you have nothing to be disappointed about. There's nothing to feel guilty about. There's nothing to feel ashamed of. You're doing the best you can in every situation. That means you take each decision as it comes. Right? If you wake up this morning and you woke up kind of late, what's the next decision? Okay, where do I need to be? What do I need to do to get there? How do I get there? This is the best route to that place. Okay, let's do that, right? Maybe it's the wrong way. Maybe it's a detour. Maybe there's a traffic jam. I don't know. And you still don't get there on time. But at the time when you made the decision, it was the best decision you could make. So here we are. Next decision. Okay, you're running late. You're not going to get there on time. Traffic jam, whatever. What do you do next? How do you manage everyone else's expectations? You got to call somebody and tell them, hey, I'm running late, right? You got to let people know. Maybe once you get there and you're running late and people are upset, there's tensions that are high, what do you focus on? What is my job today? What do I need to get done? How can I get it done even though people are upset with me? And then prove to them that, hey, still, I'm the best person for this job because I know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So yes, plant the seeds every step of the way. Choose the best possible decision that you can every step of the way. Take it one decision at a time, one moment at a time, so there's not so much pressure, because I can't plan anything in the future because something I do right now may change those plans. You know what I'm saying? So take it a little bit at a time. Stop beating yourself up for not seeing any results, because if you're looking for the results now already, then you're not going to be doing the best that you can. You're not going to be making the best decisions because you're looking for a specific result, which may not show the world that you are actually really capable. Let's put this in another sense, shall we? Social media, right? Likes, comments, shares. If I make sure that my daughter does a really great job on a singing audition, right? And they are talking about whether she gets the part or not, I could try and influence everything and put her video, like the audition, if I'm allowed, obviously, or the practicing of it, I could put it online for people to see. Right? And if people like it, that's great. But that doesn't necessarily mean that because people like it, that the director will like it and cast her. Right? It doesn't necessarily mean that if I have 100,000 likes and 50,000 comments, that people are automatically going to be like, oh yeah, I have this role that I need a young lady for. This girl would be perfect because I've seen her. What if they haven't seen her? There's no guarantee there. So as much as we want the likes and the comments on social media, you still got to be genuine about your craft. You still got to be purposeful with the kind of content you're putting out. What is it that you're trying to say? What is the message here? Are you going for outfit of the day? Are you going for makeup of the day? Like, what is the purpose? So if you don't have a purpose, you're not going to know what the end result is supposed to look like. And even then, the results you get may not be really reflective of the work that you did. So try to focus on the present moment. Try to focus on the decision you have at hand. And then do the best you can in that moment. And then if you know that there's something that you could have done better, adjust wherever you can. But you expecting to sow a seed today and tomorrow, in a couple of days, in a week, you see a result, not necessarily going to happen. And even then, it may not happen the way you're expecting it to happen. You hear what I'm saying? So release all of your expectations of what it's like to put in the work and what the results may look like. I may be building a house, right? And I may be able to lay a foundation. But if I decide along the way that the house plan is going to change, that also means that even though I laid a foundation, I may need to adjust it. Or it may not be enough, or it may be crooked, it may not be level. There could be so many things that go wrong. But in the moment, when I had the original plan, this is the foundation I laid. Because it was the best possible foundation plan to set me up for the plan of the house that I had at the time. You see what I'm saying? Don't stress out over things you can't control. Take one decision at a time. Keep sowing the seeds, even if you don't see the results, because you know what you're doing is right. You know what you're doing is the best that you can at the time. If you're going to feed people, right? Don't feed people hoping that they're going to, all of them, one by one, come up and compliment you on your dish. They may not. But you know what? It may be the only meal they get that day. And that might be a big deal. And they may not come back and tell you that they appreciate it, because maybe they don't realize the value of it until after they've gotten up and washed their hands and walked out. You see what I'm saying? They got into the world and then suddenly realize, oh my gosh, you know what? I'm glad I had that meal, because if I hadn't had that meal, I would be starving by now, or I wouldn't be able to concentrate on my exam, or I wouldn't, have the energy to do the things that I need to do next. And maybe they don't come back and thank you. I mean, how many times do we go up and thank the servers and the chefs at a restaurant that we sit down and eat at? Yeah, we pay for it, but do we thank them? No. But we're real quick to write a bad review if anything goes wrong. You see what I'm saying? But that doesn't stop them from cooking. That doesn't stop them from serving. Why? Because it's in their heart to do it. It's what they love most, and they put their all into everything that they do. At least I hope so. So I hope this helps. I hope this makes some sense. And I hope it relieves you from some stress you might be feeling, because yeah, it's getting ready to be the holidays, y'all. We're trying to, bring everybody together, get Christmas presents done, show people appreciation, dinners and award ceremonies, all that end of the year stuff. But it's also COVID, so we don't have the kind of capabilities or permissions that we used to. So we take a lot of that for granted. But if it's in your heart to thank someone, do it. If it's in your heart to show some love, do it. Just do it because it's in your heart to do. You got that, that urge to, hey, I want to do this, then do it. But don't do it expecting a reward or a reaction or some kind of, gratefulness at the end of it, because then you're not doing it for the right reasons. Plant the seeds. Forget about when the crop comes in. Plant the seeds. Take care of them. Do it because you can. Do it because that's your skill set. You hear what I'm saying? All right, you guys. I'll catch you later. Bye.